Imagine your Honda, a global car giant with a reputation built on decades of innovation, reliability, and a sprawling international presence. Your cars are everywhere, from bustling city streets to quiet rural highways, and your factories are the beating heart of communities across continents. In North America, your factories hum with activity, producing thousands of vehicles each day. Workers, engineers, and robots move in perfect sync, all part of a finely tuned machine that keeps the wheels of commerce turning. But then, out of nowhere, a political shockwave hits. Donald Trump storms back into the White House, and suddenly, a 25% tariff is slapped on imported vehicles. The news ricochets through boardrooms and factory floors alike. For Honda, this is seismic. Nearly 40% of its US sales come from vehicles made in Canada and Mexico. Overnight, the rules of the game change, and the company faces a crossroads. Profits that once seemed secure now evaporate. Executives scramble to crunch numbers, while workers worry about their jobs. Should Honda absorb the cost, risking its bottom line, or pass it on to customers, making cars less affordable? Or is it time for a radical overhaul, rethinking the entire production strategy, shifting supply chains, and reimagining where and how cars are built? Honda chooses the boldest option. The company announces it will shift production for the US market out of Canada and Mexico, consolidating operations in the United States. This means new jobs in America, but uncertainty elsewhere. The logic is clear. To dodge the tariffs, you have to build where you sell. Made in USA becomes more than a slogan. It's a survival strategy. The announcement, made in spring 2025, sends shockwaves through the auto industry. Competitors scramble to respond, and suppliers brace for disruption. It's a stark reminder that global trade isn't just about economics. It's deeply vulnerable to the shifting winds of politics and policy. One policy decision in Washington can ripple across borders, impacting jobs, investments, and entire communities in ways that are impossible to predict. For Honda, the tariffs forced a fundamental rethink and set off a chain reaction that would hit Canada hardest, leaving workers and families facing an uncertain future. Honda's response to the tariffs was a massive North American shuffle. Faced with new trade barriers and rising costs, the company had to rethink its entire manufacturing strategy almost overnight. The stakes were high, not just for Honda, but for thousands of workers and entire communities across 3 countries. The CR-V, once a staple of Ontario's auto industry and a symbol of Canadian manufacturing strength, is now built in Indiana and Ohio. This shift wasn't just about logistics, it was about survival in a rapidly changing trade environment. The HR-V's production moves from Mexico to the US, and the Civic Hybrid, originally planned for Mexico, is rerouted to Indiana. These changes required retraining workers, retooling factories, and building new supply chains almost from scratch. Even the Civic hatchback, once imported from Japan, will now be made in Indiana. This marks a major shift for Honda, as it brings more of its global production closer to its biggest market. Honda's goal is ambitious: have 90% of US sales built in the US, a huge jump in domestic production. This means more jobs for American workers and a stronger presence in the world's second-largest car market. This localizes operations, shielding Honda from trade volatility and unpredictable tariffs. It also allows the company to respond faster to American consumer demands and market trends. But the fallout is real. Mexico loses jobs, Japan loses exports, and Canada takes the biggest hit. The ripple effects are felt in communities that once depended on Honda for economic stability. Ontario, once a key player in North American auto, loses its flagship CR-V line. The loss is more than just numbers. It's about lost opportunities and uncertain futures for skilled workers. For Canada, it's more than business. It's a blow to national pride and economic ambition. Small towns feel the impact most as families and local businesses struggle to adapt. The message is clear. In a world of tariffs, production follows the market. Companies like Honda must adapt quickly or risk being left behind in the global race. And for Honda, that market is America. The company's future now depends on how well it can serve US drivers, right from American soil. Before the tariffs, Canada was riding high, landing an $11 billion Honda investment for a new EV ecosystem in Ontario. This was supposed to be Canada's ticket to the electric vehicle big leagues, high-tech jobs, a green future, and global relevance. But after the tariffs, Honda slammed the brakes, postponing the entire project. Officially, it's about slow EV market growth, but the timing says otherwise. Why build a massive EV plant in Canada if you can't export affordably to the US? The postponement is a gut punch to Canada's EV dreams. The $15 billion boom the country hoped for suddenly looks shaky. Honda's pause leaves Canada's entire strategy adrift. If Honda is pulling back, will others follow? The dream of becoming an EV superpower is suddenly on ice. In Alliston, Ontario, Honda isn't just a company, it's the town's heartbeat. The loss of US-bound CR-V production sparks fears of layoffs and economic decline. Honda reassures the community, no immediate job cuts, and the plant will keep building for Canada and other markets. But anxiety lingers. How long can jobs last without access to the massive US market? The postponed EV investment deepens the uncertainty. Alliston's future, once secure, now hangs on political winds far beyond its control. The town is caught in limbo. Lines are running, but confidence is gone. Every move in Washington or Tokyo is watched with new intensity. The lesson is harsh. Local livelihoods are tied to global politics. Alliston hopes for the best, but fears what comes next. While Canada reels, the US Midwest celebrates. Honda's production shift means more jobs and investment for Ohio and Indiana. The Trump administration's tariffs are working as intended. Manufacturing is coming home. Ohio, already a Honda stronghold, gets a boost with new EV investments and a $4.4 billion battery plant. Honda is hiring, expanding shifts, and fueling local economies. For American workers, it's a boom. For politicians, it's a win. The result: a direct transfer of economic activity from Canada and Mexico to the US. It's a zero-sum game. Canada's loss is America's gain. The tariffs have concentrated investment and jobs in the US. For communities in Indiana and Ohio, it's a time of growth and optimism. The contrast with Canada couldn't be starker. The Honda saga exposes two clashing EV strategies, each with its own set of strengths and weaknesses. Canada's approach focuses on stability, skilled labor, clean energy, and incentives, aiming to build an integrated, open supply chain that benefits all stakeholders. The $11 billion Honda deal was supposed to prove this model worked, showcasing a harmonious blend of government support and corporate investment. The US, meanwhile, wields its market power aggressively. Build here, or pay the price. This approach leverages the sheer size of the American consumer market. Tariffs are the stick, access to American consumers is the carrot. This dual strategy forces companies to consider the cost of not complying. Honda's pivot shows the raw power of the US approach. Market access trumps incentives. The allure of the American market is hard to resist. Canada's cooperative model is sideswiped by American economic nationalism, leaving Canadian workers and policymakers scrambling. The result: Canada scrambles to adapt, while the US rewrites the rules overnight, creating a dynamic and often unpredictable landscape. Can these strategies coexist? The Honda case suggests not, highlighting the friction between cooperative and competitive economic models. As the EV race heats up, Canada may need to rethink its game plan, possibly adopting more aggressive tactics to stay competitive. Relying on goodwill and open borders is no longer enough. Canada must innovate and adapt to the new economic realities. Honda's decision lands at the worst possible time for Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney. Elected on promises of economic stability and trade savvy, Carney is blindsided as Honda shifts production and shelves its EV investment. The opposition pounces, calling it a failure of leadership. Honda's sudden reversal, denying plans to scale back, then pulling out, makes the government look unprepared. Carney faces tough questions. Did he see this coming? Could he have stopped it? Now he must scramble to restore confidence, negotiate with Washington and Tokyo, and protect Canadian jobs. The Honda crisis is his first major test, and it could define his premiership. Despite the turmoil, Honda's eyes are on an all-electric future, 100% EV and fuel cell sales by 2040, but the roadmap has changed. North America is now a divided market. Honda's EV investments are focused on the US, with Ohio as the new hub. The postponed Canadian project leaves a gap, but isn't cancelled, just on hold. If tariffs lift or markets shift, the plans could return. For now, Canada's role in Honda's EV journey is diminished. The saga is a cautionary tale. Global supply chains are fragile in an era of nationalism. Decades of integration can unravel overnight. Honda will reach its electric goals, but the path through North America is now split. The dream of a seamless continental auto industry has hit a major roadblock.